Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Serge here. We're going to get started in just a minute or less. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay, and we should be ready to go. All right, let's get started. Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Serge here. This is our morning show, Set the Market, 10 minutes, maximum 15. So let's get to it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet or hit the thumbs up like, please do so. It allows you to get alerted in real time when we have these sessions, when we have other live sessions, our research, our podcast interviews, and so on and so forth. So let's get to it. Two things I'm going to cover today. Again, 10, 15 minutes max. First, UPS. A lot of chart chasing going on again this morning. We'll talk about that. And then I want to talk about Palladium. There's an ETF called PALL. It's actually something that I alerted our Inner Circle members for today. So I'm giving you guys something we actually did for members this morning as well. So let's get into that. And then if there's another couple minutes left over after that, I'm happy to look at the broader market and of course address questions, right? So first of all, let's have a look at UPS. So UPS this morning, as I'm looking at the pre-market here, let me show you this chart here. UPS is up pre-market about, let's call that, let's call that 9%, trading around 145 or so. So if we look at this chart, basically, and I was talking to JB this morning, one of our analysts, and so you can see JB and I were looking at this, and the stock trading at 144, 145 is more or less right where it has found resistance or year to date. So, however, here's the thing, right? So if this stock is going to start going higher again, right? So this is I think an important point. If this stock wants to go higher again, we need to see a reacceleration of earnings. And I haven't gone through the earnings report enough to make any smart comments here. But I want to first just focus on the price action because ultimately that's the ultimate arbiter. So if these earnings are accelerating, which is difficult to imagine unless the economy is in a reacceleration phase. I think the economy is in a deceleration phase, a slow deceleration. But let's assume, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Then this stock would break above 145 and hold up there. It could start to base and start moving higher. However, if that's not the case, and I would imagine that's not the case yet, but we will look at this in a bit more detail today as the day progresses. Then this stock is basically just another sell at this point. So the stock again up 9-10% or so pre-market. And the reason I'm mentioning this to you is because hopefully this is a lesson in being more patient and do less chart chasing. People always get clobbered when they chart chase. That's why a lot of people are not making money in Nvidia that trade it. Because every time the stock rallies, it gets overbought and then it pulls back, right? And so this right now looks to be a similar setup. It's going to rally and it's going to get overbought as opposed to be a breakout. But I don't know. But I wanted to circle that sort of 145 level. Again, if you look at it year to date, it has found resistance all year at roughly the 150 to 200 day moving average. That's just an average of prices, right? That's all it is. There's no magical unicorn dust here to this. These are just average of prices. If for some reason the stock were to hold and close above, the 141.2 level, you could make an argument that this is now starting to look a bit better. But again, we have to take into consideration how this. So I wouldn't chart chase this, but I am very curious where this stock closes today. So that's one thing. Second thing, this kind of as a bonus thing, let's have a quick look at Tesla. I know everyone looks at Tesla, and that's fine. I actually think the stock is up more because people were a bit surprised, but also there might be a potential sort of political factor here. There's a bit of a premium getting built into some of Elon Musk's companies. So I would want to respect a potential breakout attempt here, but I would also keep in mind that this is a company that has global sales, right? So if the company has global sales, and if we were to get a serious tariff-focused administration, I'm not so sure how well Tesla is going to fare after that. Just from a news flow perspective, right? Fundamentals be darned, right? Just from a news flow perspective. But remember, the stock, it's up really nicely. It's up at 245 pre-market. This stock, again, a breakout is not a breakout until it's broken out. I keep saying this, and it sounds maybe kind of stupid, but that's the bottom line. So this stock will have to overcome 260 to really go anywhere. So at 245, it's not there. It hasn't broken out. All it's done is go back to where it was like a few days, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. That's all it's done. So if you're getting excited about Tesla this morning, just know it has to go a lot higher and settle and close above 260-ish in order for us to have a meaningful, successful breakout. Okay, so that's number 2. That was kind of a bonus. But the third thing is I want to talk about palladium. Now, palladium is something that is largely used in cars for the catalyzer and stuff like that, but also it's being used in electronics because of its durability, among other things. So palladium is volatile as hell, okay? So let me just preface this by this. But palladium on a long-term weekly chart is starting to make a move. This morning, palladium futures are up like 6 or 7%, and I have to look a bit deeper into this. It's still early here in the day for me to know all the details, but it's basically essentially broken out. But again, we need to see this kind of close. But I think this is a huge potential catch-up trade. Let's look at palladium and compare it to a couple of other things, and these are by no means the same things, but they're all kind of related in terms of their commodities and their metals and that kind of thing. And so obviously gold, which we continue to be long-term bullish on, we took some profits in our bucket 3 for Inner Circle, but you can see obviously gold had a big move. Now uranium, as we talked about, is starting to make a big move, and uranium, which I think people are finally waking up to, is of course the bigger picture trend story that we see more nuclear energy. Palladium is it's also falls into the inflation story. So if you see palladium here starting to bust a move, just keep in mind that it really hasn't done anything yet, relatively speaking, to some of these other things that are moving. Lithium too, right? So palladium, this is the long-term weekly chart. It's just starting to move, and I think this could be interesting. If you're an Inner Circle member, you are receiving a trade alert this morning, a specific one for bucket 3, and we will be tracking that one. So hopefully palladium is something that piques some of you guys' interest. Not recommendation, of course, just purely through the lens of education. So I just want to point that out. What we are noticing here in this market, and that's really been my talking point now for the past week and a half, and I think we can have a big momentum move after the election. I don't know which direction, we'll find out, but it's momentum. So if there's one thing that I want to focus on right now as I get ready for the election, and as it relates to these trades, these are momentum trades. So I want to make sure we respect momentum, right? And so one of the things that I'm doing is I'm using our TST trender. I know a lot of you guys have the trender, so I want to just quickly show you how one would apply something the trender for some of these moves. I mean, for like uranium, for example, I think we even talked about this here. I mentioned it yesterday to some clients. You know, uranium has had this big momentum move. You see, we had one buy signal that actually wasn't even valid, but it would have stopped out for a loss of, if it was even taken, of 2%. Then we had a momentum sell signal that resulted in about 15-18% gains. And then, of course, the latest one, which is a buy signal, saw palladium go up 30%. And I think the same thing is going to happen here with, uranium, not palladium. This is URA. But I think palladium is very similar. Gold is very similar, has been similar. Gold had a big move. And again, these are all ETFs we can use. We don't have to use futures for this unless we want to. Gold miners, silver, all momentum. Max 7 stocks are momentum stocks. So momentum, I think, is really what we want to focus on here. Are there any questions that as it relates to the three things we covered here this morning? What did we cover? Tesla, we covered UPS, and now Palladium and some of these other things. Let me know. I'm happy to stick around. And if you are an Inner Circle member, we are going to be doing some gap trades this morning. It looks like markets are gapping up again this morning. The equity markets are, of course. So we will be addressing that. Also, if you want to, I can show you guys something else here. Let me just find it. Today is the 24th, right? Yeah. So here, if you want to, you can join us here today at 11 Eastern, and you can join us in the session about momentum. We're going to do a momentum trading session where I talk a lot more about this. I put it into the chat box here right now. So here we are, 12 minutes in, more or less right on time. Again, Palladium is one talking point. Again, its futures are up this morning there. Tesla, keep in mind a breakout above 260 is what needs to happen at least. Otherwise, it's not breaking out. Otherwise, all it's doing is going back to where it was a couple of weeks ago. And UPS again has to really kind of prove where it wants to go. So please give us a thumbs up, please hit the subscribe button, because that's going to allow you to be updated on our daily morning show here when it is, podcasts and all our live analysis that we do here as well. We do these sessions Monday through Thursday, so we're not doing one on Friday because I typically have to do more research on Friday, but we will be back here Monday morning. In the meantime, I hope to see you guys in our momentum session here today at 11 o'clock Eastern. The link here is in the chat box, and also I'll see you back here on Monday. Thanks so much, good luck, and we'll see you soon.